Welcome to Reddit Stories, where OP's parents are demanding that she adopt their dog. Am I the jerk for not adopting my parents' dog? I'm 27, female. I live alone and I work full-time. My parents are both in their early 60s, recently retired, and decided to travel the country in an RV for the next couple of years. They've been planning this for a while, and I was happy for them. But a few weeks before their trip, they hit me with a surprise. They asked me to adopt their dog, Max. Max is a 9-year-old black lab. He's sweet, but he's very high maintenance. He has joint issues, allergies that require expensive food and meds, and he doesn't get along well with other dogs, which is a problem because I live in an apartment building with lots of dogs around. He also needs a ton of exercise, and with my job and my schedule, I honestly don't have the time or the energy to give him the attention that he needs. I told my parents that I love Max, but I can't take him in. Between the cost, the time, and my living situation, it would be overwhelming. I also told them that it kind of felt unfair to just assume I'd take him on with such short notice. They were not happy. My mom said, "So, you'd rather he go to a shelter?" Which made me feel awful. I asked if they had looked into any other options, like a long-term sitter, or if one of their friends or neighbors could help. They said no, they didn't think it would be necessary, because they assumed that I'd say yes. My dad even said, "You grew up with Max. He's part of the family. We thought you'd do the right thing." The guilt trip hit hard, but I still didn't budge. I offered to help cover the cost of boarding him or help them find someone else, but I was firm that I couldn't adopt him. That led to a blow-up argument, and now they've gone radio silent since leaving on their trip. My mom sent me one text saying she was disappointed in my priorities. I still feel bad, but I also feel like this was unfairly sprung on me, and I shouldn't be forced into something that would seriously impact my life. I didn't choose to get a dog, and I don't think it's right that I'm being painted as heartless because I won't take responsibility for theirs. So, am I the jerk? Not the jerk. It's insane that your parents planned a whole cross-country adventure and just assumed you'd take on their aging, high-maintenance dog like it was no big deal. Loving Max doesn't mean you're obligated to turn your life upside down. Offering to help find another solution was more than generous. They're the ones bailing on the dog, not you. Not the jerk. Your parents are the ones choosing to travel full-time, and it's their responsibility to make sure their dog is taken care of without dumping him on you. Pets aren't just furniture you hand off when it's inconvenient. You didn't sign up for a senior dog with medical needs, and it's totally fair to say no. They should have planned better, not guilt-tripped you for having boundaries. Update 2 weeks later. So here's the good news first. Max is in a good home. My aunt and uncle, my mom's sister and her husband, ended up agreeing to take him in. They live out in the country, they have a big yard, and they already own 2 other dogs, so it's a great setup for him. I visited him last weekend and he looked happy and relaxed. That part is a huge relief. Now, the not-so-great part. My parents are still furious with me. According to them, it didn't matter who had the better setup because Max knew me best and I should have taken him in for that reason alone. They've now told me that for the time being, they need to keep their distance from me, which is their way of saying I'm on some kind of probation until I make it up to them. It feels really bizarre. What's especially weird is that my parents were never like this before. Growing up, they were reasonable, supportive, even laid back most of the time. But over the last several months, it's like something shifted. They've become way more demanding and reactive. I don't know if it's retirement, stress, or something else, but they just don't feel like the same people anymore. Strangely, while this has been happening, I've also noticed some of the people I used to struggle with at work have become nicer. I used to butt heads with a few coworkers regularly, and now we're grabbing lunch and joking around. It feels like parts of my world are flipping. I know that sounds dramatic, but it's honestly what it feels like. Anyway, I'm still processing all of this. I don't know what comes next. I'm grateful Max is in good hands, but part of me is just standing here wondering how everything around me started shifting like this. I'm really happy for Max, and I'm happy for you too. This sounds like growth on your end. When we truly grow as people, it can feel like people around us are changing, but more often than not, we're just seeing things more clearly. It's like cleaning your glasses after wearing them smudged for a long time. The world doesn't suddenly get blurry or sharp. You're just finally seeing it as it really is. Keep going. It can feel uncomfortable at first, but this is one of the best stages of life that many never get to experience. Wow, thank you so much for this comment. I've been going through something similar, but couldn't quite put my finger on it. Lately, I've noticed that the friends I used to love hanging out with don't really feel like my people anymore. The stuff we used to do together just doesn't interest me anymore. I really don't enjoy being on social media like I used to, or even checking the news. It all just feels empty and kind of pointless now. I've tried to explain this to a few people, but they just look at me like I'm crazy or suggest therapy. But I don't feel sad, I'm not angry, and I don't feel lost. Your comment helped me realize I'm just moving towards something new. You know, Karen, sometimes the most confusing part of life isn't what changes, it's what stops making sense to us. Oh, I feel that, Reddit boy. One day you're just chilling scrolling TikTok. Next thing you know, you're staring at the wall, wondering why small talk feels like static now. And isn't it interesting how inner growth doesn't always feel like progress? That's because real growth is never loud. It's quiet. It's you saying no thanks to things that have been stealing your peace for a long time. And the people who tell you that something's wrong just because you're outgrowing your old life, they might not get it, but that's okay. They don't have to. They're still reading the first chapter while you're halfway through the book. Just keep turning those pages. It only gets better from here. My girlfriend's mom wants her to explore other options after we've been dating for 2 years. Brief backstory. I met her mom once at a wedding and it didn't go as planned. It wasn't awful and I didn't make a fool of myself or anything like that. I just didn't have a conversation with her as much as she would have liked, I guess. I was just so distracted by friends and the usual wedding antics. This is the one and only time that we've met in person. I've met the dad a few times and we're cool. That was a year ago. Since then, she's always had a slight distaste for me. She doesn't hate me, but she never gave me another chance. I recently found out she argues with my girlfriend very passionately about how I'm not the right one and how my girlfriend should date other people. These arguments have been happening every time they come to town or my girlfriend visits them, at least once or twice a month. And apparently, it got really intense last week. My girlfriend says her mom had a nervous breakdown halfway through the argument while my girlfriend was defending me and giving her the reasons why she likes me. She's extremely stubborn, and I think that's being generous. She does this to my girlfriend's dad too, always mentioning how she could have had another life without him, wishes she dated more, etc. By the way, they married in their late 30s. So now there's this guy. I don't know his name or who he is. My girlfriend's mom knows him through one of her friend's friend's son. She keeps asking my girlfriend to go on a date with him and gets more adamant about it every time my girlfriend mentions me. Lo and behold, my girlfriend buckled and accepted the date. She says it's the best solution to the problem, that maybe if she just goes on one date and explains to her mom why she didn't like him, that it'll thaw the situation. The date is being set up as we speak. I'm torn. Of course I didn't agree with it. I asked what my girlfriend would think if I were to do that, and she said it would hurt her a lot. I know it's only one date, but I can't stand the thought of another guy trying to put the charm on my girlfriend. Also, if I give up my self-respect by giving in, her mom will walk all over me every time. I thought of every alternative under the sun, even told my girlfriend to mention to the guy that she's already dating someone. I got furious when she told me she wouldn't ruin the date by saying that. As much as I tried to think of an alternative, I got shot down, and it made me think that maybe my girlfriend's mom finally got inside her head, and now she does want to date other people. She even said, well, if the date happens soon, I can't say no, after I asked her to buy us some time by putting off the date until we figure out a rational solution. She did have one good idea, though, for me to write her mom a letter, letting her know that I'm aware of the situation and that I would love to meet her one day. Just a simple and nice letter explaining why we've come this far and how much the situation means to me. I already did, and I'm planning to send it out once we've proofread it together. However, I feel like the situation has already worn us down to the point that we both feel like we're on different wavelengths all the time. The part that hurts about it the most is that we had a perfect relationship with each other, and we never did anything to hurt one another, until this got in the way and made things awkward between us. I'm not sure what to do or how to approach it. It's depressing my girlfriend, and trying to buy time has taken a mental toll on both of us. I don't want her to go on the date at all. I would never forgive myself for letting it happen without trying my own approach first. Edit. Thank you all for the responses. I assure you that I've read each and every one, and I'm trying to respond to them while I'm at work. I would also like to add that if my girlfriend does choose to go on the date, she's doing so against her own judgment and plans to keep it as brief as possible. Still, it doesn't make it any more appropriate, but just thought it would be fair if I cleared that up. Edit 2. Her mom doesn't want us to break up, but she just has this insane belief that my girlfriend should keep the relationship open until she decides exactly who she wants to be with. This is dumb for 2 reasons. 1. My girlfriend has dated quite a bit and knows what she wants. 2. We've been getting along incredibly well for the past 2 years, and for some reason, her mom is convincing herself that it's not genuine. Possible underlying issues. Edit 3. Thank you all for continuing the discussion with me. I have a pretty clear picture of what I should do now when she gets back in town. I'll post an update after we have a conversation about it. In the meantime, I ask you all to believe in the ones you love. No, no, no. Forget this whole plan. Your girlfriend doesn't owe her mom explanations every time she breathes. She doesn't need to go on a date to prove anything. She needs to act like an adult and tell her mom to stop. This isn't about you. You're not doing anything wrong. The letter you wrote does not fix the core issue. Her mom is used to getting her way by pushing hard. Someone has to finally tell her no. If your girlfriend can't do it, you need to think about where this relationship is headed. This is one of the rare moments where a clear line might be the only thing that works. Update 6 days later. So I had a talk with my girlfriend last night. Told her to basically put her foot down now or we'll have to suffer her mother's toxicity for the rest of our lives. She said there was no way she could do that to her mother. We argued about it for 2 hours. I told her that she needs to grow a backbone because if not with me, her mother will control every other aspect of her life and continually cause unwanted misery towards her and everyone she decides to date. Then it came out that the date I mentioned in the post has been set up and she's agreed to see him. I blew my lid and told her that disrespects me, our relationship, and herself. She even admitted that her mother has in fact manipulated her into believing that having an open relationship is a great idea. I lost all respect and trust for her, and there's no way to earn it back. She said she would compromise by going on one coffee date with this guy, just once, and we'll take a break for a month. For the sake of leaving things amicably, I agreed to the compromise, but I told her that once I walk out, the chances of her seeing me again are slim to none. She cried about that, and for once, I didn't feel sympathy for her. I comforted her while she was crying, but my mind was already checked out. I'm curious what the next month will bring. She said she would still like to keep in contact with me in some way, but I'm not intent on contacting her anytime soon. I'm just upset that I left some books there that I was currently in the middle of reading. Maybe I'll just shoot her a text in a couple months to pick up my books. What hurts the most is that we had such a great relationship together. We got along well. Our arguments were few and very far in between, and usually ended on a good note. It was a perfect relationship, but an external force caused the downfall. It hurts because I had no control, and I basically had to give up an incredible relationship for the sake of pleasing someone. I just feel so defeated, and I never had a chance to defend myself or fight back. If we hated each other, I would understand, but we didn't. This breakup will suck for a while, I'll admit that. I've never been in a relationship like this before. It was so great, then it became a train wreck literally overnight. Edit. Wow, thanks for all the supportive comments. I just want to make one thing clear. I haven't actually agreed to the compromise. I'm just a nice person at heart and didn't want to storm out of there with a big "forget you" attached to the story. Please remember that we had some great times, and I still think she's a kind person. Maybe not towards me or herself, but we're all human after all. I only half-heartedly accepted the compromise so we could have an amicable split. Of course, I won't take her back after a month or follow through with the compromise. You lost all respect and trust for her. You're not the only one. Your girlfriend hands control to her mom every time things get difficult. You're doing the right thing by stepping away. Nobody can build a life with someone who listens to their mom more than their partner. She's not ready for adult relationships. People are upset with your ex because she puts her mom above her own future. Some kids can't pull away from their parents even when their parents push them into bad decisions. One day she might look back and realize she let her mom ruin something good. I hope you move forward and keep your peace. You made the right choice here. So let me get this straight. This guy's girlfriend gets bullied into dating another man because her mommy said so? Yep. Mommy Dearest didn't like him from the jump, and apparently one awkward wedding chat means he's unworthy forever. She agrees to a date with someone else just to shut her mom up? She doesn't need a date. She needs a backbone. And maybe a mirror so she can see who's really controlling her life. I thought my husband was cheating, but the truth is even worse. When we first got married, my husband had zero interest in gambling, not even casually. Then he began placing small bets on football, just every now and then. I didn't think much of it at the time, but now it has grown into something that I can no longer get behind. It isn't even just football anymore. He also now bets on matches in other countries, including American football, baseball, soccer, basketball, golf, Formula One. He gets angry at individual players if they don't perform the way that he needs them to for his bets. It isn't about supporting a team anymore. It's just all about the bets now. For a long time, I couldn't understand what was happening. His behavior changed so much that I honestly thought he might be cheating. I was devastated when I discovered it was gambling instead. I know that might sound strange, but the betrayal still felt just as sharp, with all the lying, secrecy, constant emotional distance. I told him I wanted a divorce. He begged me to stay and promised this was a wake-up call. He said he'd never gamble again. He said he wanted help and counseling and that he wanted to fix it. So we went to counseling together, and he also started individual counseling. He then told me he had stopped gambling for good. He said he was committed to our marriage. He said he understood how much he'd hurt me. He was lying the entire time. A few days ago, the police contacted me. They said authorities in another country were investigating social media posts that threatened a player there, and the posts were traced back to my husband. He lost a bet, blamed the player, and made threats online. I was shocked. I felt sick and embarrassed. I was devastated all over again. When I confronted him, he told me he never stopped gambling. He admitted he had only been telling me what I wanted to hear. He admitted the counseling didn't matter to him. He admitted he had never actually tried to stop. I'm moving out this week. I'll be seeking a divorce. There's no fixing this. I'm not giving him another chance. I can't believe how naive I was, but I refuse to stay with someone who lies so effortlessly. Edit. Thanks for all your comments. They've been very helpful. People keep telling me not to blame myself. I know I gave him a second chance and that he's the one who ruined it. But the humiliation of the police being involved is something I wasn't prepared for. I felt embarrassed. My husband didn't. He wasn't even bothered at all. I've since learned that sports gambling has become a major issue for many couples. I never thought it would happen in my own marriage. Some people suggested giving him another chance while securing my finances before fully leaving. I understand the intention, but I already did give him a second chance. I set boundaries. We went to counseling. His individual counselor specialized in gambling addiction, and he even attended a support group. None of it made a difference. He lied the entire time. Once he admitted that he was only telling me what I wanted to hear, any hope I had collapsed. I know divorce is the only option now. Nothing anyone says will make me change my mind. Don't blame yourself. You did everything a reasonable partner could do. You gave him a second chance, you supported counseling, and you tried to believe in the person you married. He's the one who lied. He failed you as a husband, and he failed himself. Maybe the police involvement will finally wake him up, but that doesn't mean you owe him a third chance. You deserve safety, stability, and honesty. Put your energy into rebuilding your own life now. Update 1.5 months later. I moved out a month ago. I told him clearly that I would be seeking a divorce. He still says he doesn't want one, even though he openly admitted that he kept lying and only said what I wanted to hear. He still shows no embarrassment about the police investigation. Nothing about this situation seems to bother him the way it should. There's absolutely no chance I'll stay married to him. The divorce process formally began last week. I told him I don't want any more contact. I'm focusing on moving forward, healing, and rebuilding my life. Thank you to everyone who left kind and supportive comments on my last post. They help more than you know. I did receive a few messages calling me sensitive or stupid, but I deleted them and turned off the chat feature for now. I refuse to take on shame that doesn't belong to me. My husband didn't start gambling until a few years into our marriage. At first, it was small and only on football. Then he added other sports, then international leagues, then individual players. It crept in slowly until it took over everything. I never expected something like this to happen to me, and I feel foolish for believing he was trying to change. But at least now I'm out, and I'm not going back. So he wasn't cheating, he was just secretly gambling away their future. Right. And lying about getting help while doing it the whole time? Classic self-destruction arc. OP's gonna be betting on herself from now on. Much better odds. And way less chance of the police showing up at her door. He tried to hide my stuff. I got the last laugh, and it is glorious. So when my ex-husband and I were still married, but started to talk about divorce, and yes, still living together, he suddenly got real secretive. Wouldn't tell me where he was going, what he was doing, nothing. His excuse? You don't have access to that part of my life anymore. If you need to know something, I'll let you know. Mind you, he was the one who cheated on me. Anyway, one morning he tells me he has a bunch of errands to run and won't be home until later. I asked him what kind of errands, and he says I don't need to know. At the time, we had just moved, but our storage unit was still 3 hours away. That detail matters, I promise. Later that afternoon, I got a call from our storage unit. The lady on the phone sounded like she was trying to be discreet, but I wasn't sure why. She says, "Hey, just wanted to let you know your storage unit has been cleaned out. I just need your confirmation to close it out on my end." I was confused. I asked, "Is my husband there?" And she goes, "Mm-hmm." Then I asked, "Where did the stuff go?" She told me it was moved to a new unit. I asked if I was still listed on the new unit, and she checked and said yes, I was, for now. So I said, "Okay, then it's fine to close the old one." I thanked her, and she quietly added that she thought the whole thing seemed shady and that she had my back. That honestly meant the world to me. A total stranger cared enough to look out for me. When my ex came home later that day, I asked him how the storage unit was. He denied being there at all, but when I told him I knew for a fact he was, he changed his tone fast. "I was going to tell you. How did you know?" I just said, "You have your people, I have mine." Fast forward a month. He called the storage company and tried to have me removed from the account so I wouldn't have access to my own things. Thing is, he ended up speaking to the same woman who helped me before. And guess what she did? Instead of removing me, she took his sister off the account and left my info in place. Name, phone number, all of it. He thought I was locked out, but I still had full access, and he never thought to double check. Later on, he started demanding I return his stuff. At this point, he had already been escorted out of my place by police and told not to come back. He was banned from the premises. I told him that I'd give him his things once he gave me access to the storage unit since he had the only keys. He refused, so I came up with a plan. A glorious, petty little plan. I called my parents and asked if they had helped me rent a U-Haul to get my things. Then I called the storage unit to confirm I was still listed on the account. They said I was. I also told them I might have lost my key and asked if they could cut the lock when I get there. They said yes. Before heading out, we loaded my car with all his things, every bit of it, and we hit the road. When we got there, they cut the lock. What I found inside was most of my stuff, plus a bunch of broken furniture and trash. He had separated our things himself without me present and left me the scraps. I'm still missing sentimental items I can never replace, like a ceramic tile I had made when my son was a newborn. It had his name, footprints, birth date, all of it, gone. So we picked up everything that was mine. The broken furniture and the garbage, they stayed right where he left it. Thought I'd return the favor. I bought a brand new lock and placed it on the unit. Then I took myself off the account entirely since nothing in there was mine anymore, not even the trash. Once I got home, I went to his apartment and taped the keys to his door. Took a photo for my records, then I emailed him the photo and told him I had gotten my stuff, put all his stuff in the storage unit, and he was free to go close it out whenever he wanted. His first response? "How did you get access to the storage unit? I took you off the account." Then a second message followed right after. "What storage unit?" I laughed out loud. He had outed himself so fast. I replied, "You know, the only unit we had together, up in such and such city. My name was still on the account." He tried to argue I accessed it illegally. I told him, it was illegal for me to access my things that you moved and locked away from me? Later that day, the general manager of the storage facility called. "Yeah, your husband's been calling me all day. I probably spent 4 hours on the phone with him. He keeps insisting you were removed from the account, but I told him I saw your name on it before you took yourself off." He added, "He's been calling corporate in between our calls. All in all, he spent about 9 hours trying to prove we let you in illegally. He even asked me for proof you were ever on the account, and I couldn't find it. But wait, I just found it. He sounded so relieved. Turns out, the kind woman who helped me months earlier set me up for success by quietly keeping me on the account when he asked to remove me. I never got to thank her properly. She wasn't working there anymore when all this went down. But she helped me beat him at his own game. He tried to hold my stuff hostage and use it as leverage. Instead, I flipped the script. I asked the GM to email me the proof he found, and he did. He said my ex seemed completely unhinged, and I agreed. In the end, I stole the ace up his sleeve, and it felt glorious. There was nothing he could do once I had the proof. Justice never tasted so sweet. That storage unit employee didn't just do her job. She joined the resistance. Absolute MVP behavior. Quietly flipped the whole script without breaking a sweat. She deserves a medal, a raise, and front row seats to the impending courtroom drama she accidentally helped produce. So this guy moved her stuff without asking, lied about it, then cried when his plan didn't work out? Classic villain origin story, except the villain forgot the plot halfway through. My mother-in-law wanted to exclude my daughter from Thanksgiving and Christmas to protect my sister-in-law. I'm 31, and I'm married to my husband, Tyler, who's 32. I gave birth to our first baby, a girl, almost 3 months ago. I love Tyler deeply, and I've always felt grateful to have married into his family. Growing up, I had a single mom, and it was always just the two of us. While I love my mother dearly, I often wished for a larger family unit with siblings when I was younger. Sadly, my mom passed from ovarian cancer about 2 years ago, and now I truly don't have family apart from my in-laws. By contrast, Tyler's parents are happily married, and he's one of 4 kids. His family has always been kind and welcoming to me. I've always enjoyed spending time with them at holidays and family reunions. However, the only exception is Tyler's twin sister, Ashley. Since I first met Ashley, she's been cold and standoffish towards me, especially compared to her friendly younger brothers and parents. She's never been outright rude or mean, but she's also never put much effort into getting to know me or asking me questions. I know she has had some resentment toward Tyler and often comments that he is the favorite or that everything comes easily to him. Some of her remarks bother me because I know how hard Tyler has worked for his success. I also see that he has struggles he doesn't share with the family because he doesn't want to burden anyone. Even though her comments irk me, I've never addressed them because Tyler has accepted that's just the way she is and he doesn't let it bother him. Although Ashley and I are far from being close, I felt sad for her after learning she's been struggling to get pregnant. She and her husband have been trying for about 2 years, and she recently experienced losing one. I'm trying to be mindful of what she's going through and have intentionally avoided talking about my pregnancy or our baby around her. I even declined my mother-in-law's offer to throw me a baby shower because I thought it might be too painful for Ashley. With that said, Tyler's family is incredibly excited about our daughter. Since Tyler is the first of his siblings to have a baby, it's an exciting time and transition for everyone. Yesterday, Tyler's parents came over for dinner. My mother-in-law mentioned that she had something difficult to discuss with us. She began by saying how hard the last few years have been for Ashley. She explained that while Ashley is excited for us, it's been difficult for her to see me with an infant when she's wanted to be a mother for so long. My mother-in-law went on to say that Ashley is dreading the upcoming holidays because she's worried everyone will focus on us and fuss over the new baby. She said she's been trying to consider Ashley's feelings and suggested that Tyler and I sit out Thanksgiving and Christmas this year. She even proposed that we hire a sitter for our daughter so the baby wouldn't be the center of attention. If that wasn't possible, she floated the idea of me staying home with the baby while Tyler stopped by briefly to say hello. My husband was livid. He immediately said that if Ashley can't manage her emotions, she should be the one to stay home. My mother-in-law responded by saying that Ashley is going through a lot right now and needs the support of her family. Tyler firmly stated that he would not celebrate the holidays with them unless both the baby and I were included. Hearing this conversation made me emotional and I started crying, which shocked everyone. I rarely show emotion in front of others, but I couldn't help myself. I told them that while I feel terrible for Ashley, I'm heartbroken and disappointed that our daughter is being excluded. I explained that I don't have any family now that my mother is gone, so it's especially important to me that my child develops a strong bond with her grandparents, uncles, and aunt. I also told my mother-in-law that her suggestion made me feel unwelcome and undervalued in the family. I said it was hurtful to realize how easily she could suggest excluding both me and my daughter. I acknowledged that Ashley is her daughter and that her loyalty will always be to her first, but it still hurt deeply to feel so dismissed. My mother-in-law began to backtrack, saying she loves me and our daughter very much and now realizes this wasn't the right way to handle the situation. She admitted she hadn't thought things through enough. Despite her apology, Tyler was still furious. He asked his parents to leave, even though his mom was crying and begging to work things out. Today, I've received several calls from my mother-in-law, but I haven't been able to bring myself to answer them yet. I know I should hear her out, but I'm still so hurt by everything that happened. Tyler is just as upset and doesn't want to participate in the holidays this year. Maybe I'm being selfish under the circumstances, but I can't believe how easily they could suggest excluding my baby. It feels like they don't truly see us as an important part of the family. Am I the jerk? Not the jerk. What were mother-in-law and father-in-law's plans if Ashley is never able to have a baby? Leave you out until your child is an adult? It's sad that she hasn't been able to get pregnant, but that shouldn't mean that you and your child are treated any differently. I am completely heartbroken. My husband just told me he booked a flight to visit his best friends and go golfing in a few weeks. He didn't talk to me about the dates or even mention his plans before booking. We've been together for almost 21 years and married for 15. Our anniversary is next week. He's never done anything like this before. For context, he's incredibly cheap. We haven't gone away for a single night in years, not even with the kids. I wanted to buy Disney tickets this summer, but he said no. No matter what I spend, he always has an issue with it. Every time I go grocery shopping, he complains about how much I spend, even though I stay well within the budget. The last time we went out to eat was back in November last year, and that was with our 13-year-old. I've asked so many times to go out for dinners or just do something together, but it never happens. Recently, during an argument, I brought it up again. He said he doesn't like going out to eat, so why would he do it? He told me I should consider the time we spend on weekends cleaning the house and doing yard work as spending time together. I don't work, and I don't have friends or family nearby. I feel like this trip was the final straw. I feel neglected. He insists that's not the case, but his actions say otherwise. He has an unhealthy relationship with money and is always stressing over it. We don't struggle financially and live comfortably, but he was laid off years ago. It took him about 9 months to find work again, and since then, he's been overly controlling and anxious about money. He stresses over spending $5 to rent a movie and balks at the idea of paying $8 a month for a movie subscription service. Our oldest daughter, who is 24 now, has told me how much anxiety his obsession with money caused her growing up. She's always worried about running out of money because of him. Her counselor back then told him to stop talking about money so much because it was hurting her, but he couldn't stop. Our youngest daughter, who's 13, has struggled with anxiety and depression since lockdown. She's incredibly smart, but has no drive or ambition. She misses too much school, never does her homework, and lies about it. It's an absolute nightmare trying to manage that stress. I'm the one who shoulders most of the burden because my husband works 60 hours a week. Last May, I was so stressed trying to ensure our daughter passed 7th grade that I lost 20 pounds. I never get a break. Last spring, I even wrote him a 13-page letter explaining how I needed more from him, more quality time, more effort, and a chance to recharge once in a while. He admitted he wouldn't want his daughters to marry someone who treats them the way he has treated me. He even said he'd have a real problem with it if our oldest were marrying someone who acted the way he does. He has said hurtful things out of spite over the years. He knows they were wrong and he has apologized, but the damage lingers. I feel like I need to set a better example for my daughters. How can I teach them to expect respect and care from their partners if I stay married to someone who continuously ignores my needs? My heart is breaking into a million pieces right now. I just kicked him out, and I don't know if I made the right decision. Update 1 month later. So about his trip, he was supposed to come home briefly to help with hurricane prep and stay just one night, but as the storm became more serious, he stayed to help me prepare the house and yard. Then we talked about evacuating and even booked a hotel about 3 hours away. However, when the storm shifted south, we decided to stay put. He stayed during the storm and helped afterwards as well. During that time, we did a lot of talking, but despite everything, he refused to cancel the trip. I told him he should be begging for my forgiveness, but it felt like I was the one fighting to save our marriage. He had already taken a similar trip 2 months ago where he went alone, had no responsibilities, and had a lot of fun. He admitted he just wanted to feel that way again. I told him plainly, if he didn't cancel the trip, the marriage was over. I explained that he couldn't have his cake and eat it too. I would never get away with doing something like this, nor would I even try. I don't understand why this trip is so important to him. In response, he started love bombing me and made promises to change. He said he'd start treating me to vacations and date nights. However, this only reminded me of past issues I'd forgiven, yet here he was adding to the pile. He told me I hold on to past grievances, but I don't understand why he'd choose to make things worse when we were already struggling. It's heartbreaking to love someone so much and have them hurt you like this. I don't want my marriage to end, but he told me outright that he would only start putting me first after his trip. Why can't I be stronger and realize there's someone out there who would cherish me and love me the way I deserve? My 13-year-old sent him a text explaining her feelings. She basically told him he chose this trip over his family. He left for the trip on Friday and he's coming back home today. All of his belongings are packed up and in his truck. Most of it he packed himself before leaving on Friday, trying to convince me I was making a bigger deal out of this than necessary. While he was away, I texted his brothers, sister-in-law, and the friend he went to visit. I explained the situation and the circumstances leading up to it. I also mentioned how he spent next to no time on date nights and did absolutely nothing for our 15th anniversary last month. He told me no one took his side, and I wasn't surprised. I told him that no one we know would treat their spouse this way. Now I'm torn about whether to let him stay tonight or not. Heartache like this is unbearable. Edit. I talked to my husband's friends to validate his reasons for the trip and to confirm where he was staying. His best friend even told me if the trip was causing this much trouble, he would come down here instead. That's what his friend said to me directly. My husband admitted to his friend that he booked the trip behind my back. While he was there, he had a heartfelt conversation with his best friend, the friend's wife, and another close friend. None of them took his side. Instead, they gave him advice on how to fix things with me, including ways to improve our relationship and start doing date nights again. These people have known him since he was a teenager, and it's clear they care about both of us. I know for a fact that he isn't cheating. I can see his location at all times through our shared tracking app, and there's nothing suspicious. No strange numbers, no weird calls or texts. Nothing feels off. This doesn't seem like an affair. I think he just wanted the freedom to escape responsibility for a while, to party and have fun with his best friends. Maybe it's a midlife crisis. I don't know. During the trip, he stayed with his best friend's family. I tracked his location the entire time, and there was nothing to make me doubt where he was or who he was with. Am I the jerk for embarrassing my aunt at a baby shower instead of showing tact? My mother and her best friend, Jenny, have known each other since they were kids. While Jenny isn't actually related to us, I still call her Aunt Jenny. Jenny has a daughter, Ellie, who's the same age as me, 16. Unfortunately, Jenny is one of those parents who believes her kid can do no wrong. Here are a few examples of Jenny's attitude over the years. Ellie once stole a hair ribbon from another girl, but Jenny claimed the other girl was lying because she was jealous of Ellie. Ellie got an F in a class for not doing her work, but Jenny insisted the teacher was unfair and jealous of Ellie. I get that bad teachers exist, but for Jenny, every teacher Ellie has ever had is jealous of her. Ellie's older sister, Annie, hasn't spoken to her since moving out. Jenny claims nothing happened and has no idea why Annie refuses to have contact with Ellie. It's obvious something happened, but Jenny seems to be in total denial. My mom has noticed Jenny's behavior too, but she avoids directly confronting her about Ellie. Instead, she usually changes the subject, and Jenny generally picks up on the hint. Recently, my mom and I went to a baby shower where Jenny was also attending. They were talking, and my mom mentioned that I had a camping trip planned with my friends. Jenny started hinting that Ellie should be invited too. Mom, trying to be polite, started to suggest it, but before she could finish, I loudly said, "Oh, no way." Jenny was clearly upset, and on the way home, my mom told me my trip was canceled. By the time we got back though, she had cooled off and decided not to cancel it, but was still mad at me. She said she understood that I don't like Ellie and that she has plenty of issues, but she thought I was disrespectful and had embarrassed Jenny unnecessarily. Mom said I could have declined more politely, for example by saying something like, "Sorry, but we don't have room or supplies for another person," or "My friends aren't comfortable having someone they don't know well join us." I realized I could have been more respectful, but I was trying to stop that idea immediately before it turned into a bigger conversation. It's true I was pretty loud, and we did get some looks, but everyone outside of Jenny and Mom seemed to move on pretty quickly. I feel like my mom is making the embarrassment into a bigger deal than it actually was. So, am I the jerk? Am I the jerk for ghost saucing my coworker who always steals my lunch? I, 30 female, have this coworker, Michelle, who's also 30, who's been stealing people's lunch from the office fridge for months. At first, I thought it was just an accident, but after I caught her red-handed twice, I realized she was a serial fridge thief. She'd always play dumb when confronted, saying things like, "Oh, I thought it was mine," or "Oops, my bad." Honestly, it was getting old. Every time I brought it up to HR, they'd shrug it off, claiming they couldn't do anything because there was no proof, even though we all knew what was going on. It didn't feel worth escalating any further, so I just let it slide. Until last week. That's when I decided to take matters into my own hands. Now, for context, I really love spicy food, like ghost pepper level spicy food. My friends joke that I've got a stomach of steel, but I know the average person would be wiped out by eating something as hot as ghost pepper sauce. So I figured, why not give Michelle a taste of her own medicine? I went ahead and made myself a lovely lunch, some pasta with a very special, very potent ghost pepper sauce. I'm talking the kind that could melt your face off if you're not ready for it. I very clearly labeled the container with my name, just in case anyone needed a reminder. I wanted to make sure it was very, very clear who it belonged to. Then I carefully placed it in the fridge, thinking, let's see if Michelle is dumb enough to take this one. Sure enough, within the hour, I could hear her coughing from the other side of the office. Her face was practically red, and she was downing water like it was going out of style. A few minutes later, she stormed over to my desk, fuming, "Why would you bring hazardous food to work?" She yelled, looking like she had just experienced a minor brush with death. "What kind of person tries to hurt someone like that?" I just calmly looked at her and said, "It's my lunch. It's clearly labeled with my name. So why did you eat it if you knew it wasn't yours?" She stared at me for a second, probably wondering how she had managed to get herself into this mess, then muttered something about not being able to resist, but I could tell she wasn't too pleased. She had definitely learned her lesson. Now some of our coworkers are calling me petty, saying I overreacted and that Michelle was just joking when she took my food. Apparently, I'm the villain for giving her a little spice-induced lesson in personal boundaries. A few of the others, however, are definitely on my side, saying she deserved it. And honestly, after the way she'd been stealing from everyone for months, I was starting to feel pretty justified. She hasn't touched anyone's food since that incident, and I think we can all agree that she got the message loud and clear. HR, of course, sent out one of those generic emails about fridge etiquette, but they still haven't directly addressed Michelle or her behavior. I'm guessing they didn't want to make it seem like they were endorsing my spicy revenge. But you know what? I'm pretty sure she's learned her lesson. She's been giving me dirty looks ever since, and now she avoids me at all costs. I'm just waiting for her to try and pull something again, but so far, nothing. So, am I the jerk for giving Michelle the spicy lesson she so clearly needed? Not the jerk. She will never take your lunch again after this. Just make sure you never admit that you did it to set her up. If anyone asks, you just love spicy food, and that's why you made your lunch so spicy. Am I the jerk because I canceled a Christmas trip to Disney for my girlfriend's kids? Ashley and I have been together for 3 years. She has 2 kids who are 9 and 12, and I get along well with them. They're good kids, polite and respectful. While I'm not their dad, my parents have embraced them as part of the family and have always given them gifts for Christmas and their birthdays. This year, I had a great financial year, so I decided to treat Ashley and the kids to a special trip to Disney World over Christmas. We discussed the plan and everything seemed settled. But then her ex got involved. He wanted to come along with his wife and their kid pitching in to join the trip. Personally, I wasn't thrilled about the idea of sharing what I saw as our first family holiday with him and his family. I told Ashley I'd prefer it just be us, but she said her ex really wanted to be there for the kids' first trip to Disney. After some arguing, I reluctantly gave in. Then the logistics started to change. Her ex couldn't afford to stay where we originally planned, the Grand Floridian, so Ashley and her ex decided we should move to a cheaper hotel to accommodate his budget. Fine. I wasn't thrilled, but agreed to downgrade to a good neighbor hotel in Disney Springs. It's still nice and offers perks like early entrance and character events. But then I learned what their real plan was. They expected me to cancel our Grand Floridian reservation and use that money to pay for an additional suite for him and his family at the cheaper hotel. His contribution? Covering the flights for his wife and kid. That was it. I was furious and said, absolutely not. Ashley argued that the kids really wanted their dad there. I said he was more than welcome to take them himself if it meant so much to him. She called me cheap, pointing out that I could afford to do this. While it's true that I can afford it, that wasn't the point. I don't want to fund this man's family vacation, especially when this trip was meant to be my treat for her and the kids. We had a massive argument. In the end, I canceled the flights and hotel reservations and gave Ashley the tickets for her and the kids to go without me. I was done. Now she's furious, claiming she spent a lot of time and money getting the kids' passports and luggage in preparation for the trip. I told her to let me know what those costs were and I'd reimburse her. Her ex even had the nerve to call me, accusing me of being a jerk and upsetting the kids. I shot back, saying it probably hurt them more when he left their mom to have a kid with another woman. I'm still standing firm, but I'm wondering if I handled this wrong. Maybe an outside perspective would help. For the record, her ex is a manipulative jerk. He tries so hard to control her constantly, and I'm honestly sick of it. Not the jerk. He wants you to pay for his hotel by downgrading yours? Did he expect you to pay for the passes too? What a leech. Am I the jerk for not letting my grandmother stay with me after she let me stay with her during the hurricane? I, 31 female, stayed with my grandmother, who's 76, during Hurricane Milton because my home was directly in the hurricane's path. For context, I don't make much money, and I rent a very small mother-in-law suite from her. The space is tiny. It only has 2 interior doors, one to the bathroom and one to the closet. Everything else is open and accessible. This is important for what happened. My grandmother adores her 2 boxers, who are fully grown, hyper, smart, and destructive. Meanwhile, I own over $6,000 worth of work equipment and a lot of sentimental items from my long-distance partner that are irreplaceable. When my grandmother comes to visit, she likes to stay the night because long drives, she lives nearly 2 hours away, are getting harder for her. I allow her to stay because she's done a lot for me, but I have one rule. Her dogs must stay at home with a sitter. She has a sitter and uses them often for trips, so this isn't a new arrangement. Her dogs cause chaos in my small space. They chew on everything, try to break into barricaded areas, again, no doors, and constantly lick or jump on me. The last time they stayed, it led to a huge fight because I couldn't keep them from destroying my things. After that, I set the rule: no dogs. She says I'm being unfair by forcing her to choose between me and her dogs. She insists that they help her feel safe and relaxed. Her argument is that most of the time when she visits, it's for my benefit, like during hurricane evacuations or family vacations, and I should be more accommodating since I don't drive because of PTSD. She also thinks dog-proofing my place is no big deal and even suggested it would force me to clean better. She has OCD. I've offered to pay for the sitter myself, but she ignores the suggestion. I know my grandmother does a lot for me and I appreciate her, but I cannot handle the stress her dogs bring into my space. My home is tiny and I shouldn't have to completely rearrange it every time she visits, especially since I work from home and I need to access my things. I'd rather cancel the vacation we're planning than let her dog stay for even one night because I know it will end in disaster. Update. I recently had a serious talk with my grandmother. We agreed to book her a hotel whenever she visits and needs to stay overnight. Yes, I'll be paying for it, but this arrangement works for both of us. During our talk, she admitted that she was hoping to stay longer during her visits for personal reasons, but didn't want to bring her RV or impose on me. She realized that my hard no to her dog staying meant she couldn't ask for just one more day either. Hopefully this solution will help us avoid future tension. You're the jerk. Everything is always about you. Your grandmother rents you a house, likely below market rate. She does all the driving to see you. She shelters you when you need it, and you can't figure out a way to put your valuables in the closet the few times she visits. Come on. If you were independent, paid for yourself, drove half the time, did some caring for her, it would absolutely be reasonable to draw a line at the dog hosting. But this isn't the case, and your grandmother does a lot more for you than you do for her. Can't you find a way to do this one thing for her? You mentioned you offered to pay for a pet sitter. Why not instead use that cash to buy a storage container to put the valuables in so your grandmother can visit? Am I the jerk for telling my mom she and my baby brother ruined my summer? Plus updates. I, 16 female, graduated high school in June. Yes, I graduated early. My mom is currently 8 months pregnant, and she just had my half-baby brother, Ben, in October of 2021, so he's almost 2 now. My full-blood brother, Sam, male 14, was with our dad, who lives 8 hours away, all summer, and he just got back 2 days ago. My stepfather works, so for most of the day, it's just me, my mom, and Ben. I'm with Ben in the morning for 2 hours. During this time, I feed him breakfast, change his diaper, and play with him. I also make my mom coffee and breakfast. My mom sleeps during this time. She wakes up around 9:30 and eats breakfast. Around 10, I walk my dog. When I get back, I put Ben to sleep. My mom plays on her PC during this time. When Ben wakes up, I make his lunch and she feeds him. Then I have to take him outside to walk him. Then I have to take him to water the plants. I have to fetch whatever my mom needs since she can't go up and down the stairs. On top of doing all of this, I had 2 online classes I was taking. I also had a sick dog I was taking care of. With Sam gone, most of the house chores fall on me. It's a lot to handle. I never complained about any of it. I don't know if it's the pregnancy, but my mom has been extremely mean. It only takes her 5 minutes after seeing me to start complaining about something I didn't do or I did wrong. She constantly calls me lazy and compares me to kids my age who have driver's license and jobs. These are things that I want, but I literally do not have the time to because of all my jobs at home. This summer, I wanted to go see my brother and dad just for a week because I missed them. My mom said no because I had to take care of my dog. Fair, I guess. I used to go downtown to the library, and she said I can't go anymore because I didn't do insert chore here, or she needs someone to help with Ben. Right. I wanted to take myself to the movies. No. I want to go to the fair with my brother Sam. No. Yesterday was college orientation. Not only did she text me while I was there complaining about me not telling her we ran out of dishwasher pods, but when I got home, she ranted at me for 20 minutes about how I always ditch my responsibilities. School starts tomorrow and I'm so exhausted and sad. I wanted this to be a fun summer. After yelling at me and then telling me to go buy dishwasher pods last night, my mom made me tell her what was making me so upset. I told her I wasn't ready to share it, but she threatened to take away my computer, which I paid for and also I need for college, so I did. I told her I was tired of doing everything for her, that I felt underappreciated, and that she and Ben ruined my summer. She said she was more than capable of taking care of Ben on her own and sent me to bed. It's the next day and she still won't talk to me. She also won't let me help with Ben. I'm feeling a little relieved because it's been a long time since I've had time to myself, but I also feel sort of bad. Am I the jerk? Who's the mom here? My baby brother calls me mom now, so honestly, maybe I am the mother. Can you go live with your dad? I've never lived with him before since she has full custody, but he said I'm always welcome. Living with my dad probably won't be an option because of how far he lives. I've also mentioned it before, and she shot it down immediately. Update. Per your suggestions, I've decided to look into emancipation. In the meantime, I will get my things in order to be able to back myself up. I'm looking for a job through my college, and I'm going to study to get my permit. If I'm able to get my permit this month, I can have my license by February. I agree that I do need to get out of this house ASAP, but it will most likely be after the new baby is born, unfortunately. I also am deciding where I should live. I'm leaning towards my grandfather because he lives on the other side of my country, and he's at least extremely supportive of me and won't expect me to be a slave. A lot of you guys wanted me to move in with my father, but I'm sorry to say he's not the savior you guys want him to be. He and my mother divorced when I was 5, but we've never all been a family. I would see him maybe a few times a month, and now we speak once a month if that. He is by no means my dad, just a friend I check in with monthly who happened to get my mom pregnant. Here's what's happened since I posted. My mom kicked me out of my bathroom and is now making me share with my brother because apparently I'm not able to keep it clean. Mind you, everyone uses this bathroom, and she constantly tells me that it's not just my bathroom, but of course I'm the one responsible for cleaning it. She's found a way to control my devices through some app that uses Wi-Fi to control them. I've gotten 3 15-minute rants about how irresponsible I am. I will no longer fight her and just stick to my plan of getting out ASAP. I've switched all my college classes to online as well, so I can get up and leave when the time comes. I'm done. Thank you guys for all the support. Hopefully when you hear from me again, I'll be out of this house. I want to be a lawyer. I know I can do it. Who knew I could get so much support from Reddit? Update 2. So I have some good news, I guess. I'm free to go. My mom got upset at me today because I was taking care of my dog and my baby brother at the same time, and I forgot to fully clean up after the dog. I've been really stressed lately, and I guess it just slipped my mind to go back to clean up because I was with my baby brother, and then I took him to his bed to sleep, and I went to my computer to start schoolwork. Anyway, I was unloading the dishwasher about an hour later, and she saw that my dog's toys were where I left them and got really mad at me. So I cleaned up and found her in my room. She then complained about how there was a cup in my room. Nothing but water is allowed in bedrooms. I had water in the cup. And after that, my baby brother's food pouch was under my bed. I didn't know his pouch was there, but he often goes into my room while I'm not in there, so that must be why it was in there. She kicks me out of my room and tells me that I can only keep what can fit in luggage, and everything else of mine she will give away. So now I don't have a room. I sleep in the living room on an air mattress. I tried to call my grandmother to ask if I could stay with her for a while, but she didn't answer. About 10 minutes later, she asked me what was wrong with me, and I let it all out. Not like last time though. I told her that she specifically is the reason for all of my stress and that she makes me feel bad about myself. She actually apologized and gave me a hug and said it was because she's pregnant. She asked why I called my grandmother. They're not on good terms right now, and I told her that I wanted to move out and take my dog with me, of course. She was fine with it. Like a little too fine. She didn't even ask why I wanted to go. She didn't even say she needs to talk it over with my stepfather. She just said I can go. I'm very happy, but a little conflicted. I know I need to go, but I keep thinking about my brothers. How much she'll struggle with 2 babies by herself. She actually seemed like she felt bad when I told her how the way she was acting made me feel. I will go. I know it's the right choice regardless of my doubts. I'm going to my grandmother's now because she lives in the same city as my dad, 8 hours away, a big city, and it's easier. Meanwhile, I'll get a job and talk to my grandfather about me moving in with him. I think he'll be open to it. He always wants me to visit, and he's extremely supportive. I know it's not the biggest update, but I feel like getting her permission to go was the part I was most afraid of, and I have it now, so I wanted to share. Imagine your friend is having a baby and she plans to name her Tinkerbell. You want to tell her that might not be the best idea, but you're not sure how she'll react. That's exactly what happens in our next story. It just popped up on your screen. Give it a tap, come have a listen. You won't believe what happens next.